Playoffs on the horizon, our team looks to be in a good spot, but can we secure that spot in this episode? What's on, guys? Jay Hoy back with you today. Welcome back to episode number 13 of our franchise mode with the Buffalo Sabres. We are back here at the best point of this career mode so far, right? We are, 4 or 5 years into it? I think maybe this might be our 5th year. And we are finally in a good spot for this franchise, right? We currently sit 25-14-2. Last 10 have been good. You know, we have a very solid core of players, and we look to be doing all the right things heading towards the playoffs. But now's the time for our team to show up, to keep doing what we're doing, get ourselves in a good spot, because once we're in the playoffs, anything can happen, right? We know that for a fact. And if you don't remember what was going on before this episode, this is what our player stats looked like with Thompson leading the way, right? Thompson's been our number one guy. You know, as much as, I'm not a huge fan of him, he's been doing it, right? He's been our top line guy. He's been the guy getting usually the most goals, usually the most points. And, of course, we have a solid core around him with Benson, with Tuck, with middle stats, kind of rejuvenation back up to the second line with Krebs, with Batherson, and, of course, with our young talent that's still doing very well in Savoy. You know, Cousins, his role kind of got diminished a little bit with middle stats resurgence. We have Kulik. Paterka's down here, which I feel terrible about, but can't really do much more than that. And of course, we have a couple of fourth line guys to fill in. Our defense has been really solid, getting some offense out of our defense, which is always good. And then our goaltenders have finally, become a little bit more consistent and not allowing 1 million goals a game like we have been in the past. Obviously not superstar great numbers, but at the wins, right? That's all we really care about, is those wins. So like I said, we're 25-14-2, there it is, and we seem to be in a good spot overall. So let's get into it, let's simulate, let's get to the trade deadline, see if there's any kind of late acquisitions we can make, and if not, then we'll continue on towards the Stanley Cup Playoffs. All right, let's get going with a few games under our belt. We got to keep doing it, right? We put ourselves in a good spot so far. I don't want to ruin that now, as we are in a pretty contested division, right? Our top to bottom people are all doing pretty well this year. So let's get up to, we got a little bit of a break here. Let's go a couple of games here. We'll kind of check just to see if anything needs to be addressed. We're doing fine right now. Go a little bit longer here, 31-20. Couple of losses there, but the wins are coming in. That's good. Beating some good teams. We'll take that, right? 35-22 and a few more games before the deadline. 1 week left until the deadline. Couple of games left. I guess we will go into the Boston game, simulate that. All right, so with, what is that? 6 to get us to 70. So with 18 games? Can I math? Yeah, math is not had a long day. 18 games left on this season, and we have a pretty good spot, right? We are in second in our division behind the Tampa Bay Lightning. We are 4 points ahead of the next team, but they do have a couple of games in advance. So we have, or in hand, I should say, in advance. And then we are 6 points above both wildcard spots and 8 above the last spot, so that's good. All right, but taking a look at our player stats, Tuck has stepped it up a little bit. Benson, our second line in general, has, it looks like. Thompson not necessarily fallen off, but he's still doing very well, but not necessarily our top guy right now. A couple points off that, can't really complain. Middle stat, Krebs all doing their thing. Our third line seems to have stepped it up a bit too, so we love to see that. Our fourth line's doing fourth line things. Can't be mad about that. Defensively, everyone is plus in the plus-minus department. Everyone has points. No one's taking an excessive amount of penalty minutes, so I can't be upset with any of that. Dahlin doing his thing. Tarasov, not that we really expect much offense out of him, but 17 points, 9 goals for him. Can't be mad. Faber, He's one of those guys. Okay, so his overall is going up. So our team, hopefully he gets a big jump this year. But just I need him to grow. I can't have him stay at an 82 overall. Actually, it was an 81 up until this last check. So something needs to be there. Pesci's doing his thing. Novikov, who you don't really expect much from. Maybe we upgrade him just to get kind of something else in there. Goaltenders, Levi, finally, still got that 3.2 goals against, so I'd like that to come down a little bit, that goals against number as well come down. But 31, 21, and 2, 3 shutouts, just above a 900 save percentage, 3.2. I mean, has been solid. I mean, our backups just under 900%, 900 save percentage. Goals against, a little bit lower, but still, we'd like that to improve just a little bit. But of course, now is the time for the nitty gritty. So finally, something to be proud of. 4th overall in the entire league, and the only team we are really trailing is the one team from our division, and that's by a good 10 points. So obviously, they're doing something right, and we need to be doing better. That's for sure. So when we take a look immediately, so 38, 24, and 2. Very good record. Obviously, we could be, in that elite category as well. But we're just finding success a little bit now, so we want to keep that rolling. Goals for, 248 seems to be towards the top. Yep, 3rd overall. But this is the number that I was a little scared of, right? 208 goals against. I know we're comparing ourselves to Tampa here, but that's what, 30, 40 off from the top. So 208 is kind of, well, I guess it's still towards the bottom, but we definitely need to improve defensively to have a chance later in the playoffs. But then our, what is this, power play numbers, I didn't actually see what ours were, so I guess we'll find it. There it is, 20%, right on the dot. One shorthanded goal allowed, which obviously is good. 81.9 penalty kill percentage, which is up there, in the top, let's say 10 to 15. We have 11 shorthanded goals already, guys. All right, so home record decent, away record decent. Obviously not amazing, but still pretty darn good. 7-3 in the last 10. So we're doing a lot of right things. We're doing as well as we can right now. Now, without boring you guys, I'm going to go look to see if there's anything else we can get at the trade deadline. Maybe upgrade our defense, get something in there. Maybe if there's a forward or something. But for the most part, maybe a defenseman is on the cards. But let's go see what's out there and see if we can get anything. Well, following the trade deadline, we actually didn't make any moves for once. And that is not something I'm usually accustomed to. Like, usually we try to get something. And in this case, what I tried to get was a defenseman, and it just didn't work out, right? There's just too much trade value involved, and it just wouldn't have made sense for what I had to give up for what I was getting for an upgrade for a player that's actually doing well. So I know that wasn't very specific, but yeah, we tried to upgrade the back end, and we just couldn't really find a good fit to put there. So for now, we're going to keep moving on here, get towards the end of the year here. What did I say, 18 games left. Now down to just 12, and I am honestly waiting to see just that little X next to our name, and we look to be in a pretty good battle. So we are in, I'll say a four-way battle for our top division spots. Of course, the Lightning are already in there. And it also looks like the wild card spot is pretty much up for grabs too. So we have a really good shot to make it this year. And I feel like pretty soon we'll probably secure that if we win games at the end of the season here. So Ottawa, we lose. So either way, I mean, there is a couple teams there that can dethrone us. So these are a couple of big games here at the end. Win-win, and there it is. We are in the playoffs with 88 points. I think we still could possibly get knocked down to the wild card spot, but we are definitely in the playoffs. So that's what we went for this year. That's what we have built this team for, and that's what all of these changes have been for, right? Our goal was to get to this spot right here where I can finally say, for the first time since I had to go back and look, since the 2010-2011 season, the Buffalo Sabres are back in the playoffs. in what would be, let's see, 2010, 2011, and it's 27, 28. So 17, 18, 16, whatever it is, years, whatever that math comes out to be, we are finally in the playoffs as of this episode. So I want to go take a look, just shy of the 50 goal mark for Thompson. But let's go take a look, end of the year stats, end of the regular season stats, I should say, because next episode, instead of, just kind of the disappointing off-season plans of let's see what we can do, we have something to look forward to, and that is the playoff run. So let's take a look here. What do we got? Thompson, 93 points, 1 goal short of the 50 mark, which is huge. Tuck from the second line, which was one of those things that this year, we were trying to figure out what could push us to that next level. And taking those two guys off of the same line, I think helps, right? Because you look at Tuck, 23 goals, 29 goals, 28 goals, 30 goals. Still really solid, but then you look at Thompson and what he's been doing, 49, 41, 52, 33, right? Both those guys needed goals, and it just seemed like they couldn't do it on the same line. So I'm glad I made that switch. It kind of unlocked Tuck in a way a little bit and let him kind of go wild as far as goal scoring went, and to end up being tied at the end of the year, play on two different lines. What were their minutes like? I guess that was the next question. So 3 more minutes time on ice for average per game, that is, for Thompson versus Tuck. So interesting. But Benson, another very, very good year for him. 92 points for him. Krebs with more than a point per game. Very solid output for him. Middlestat, showing exactly why I bumped you up, right? 75 points, second line center. He's up for a contract this year, so got to get a new deal done with him. Savoy with a solid rookie year. We kind of bounced him around a little bit. Towards the end of the year, I bumped him up to the first line, dropped Batherson down, just to kind of give a new look for our lines, and it actually helped out a good bit. So it gives Savoy some playing time on the top line. It gave him some points at the end of the year. What started out to be an okay year, decent year, we kind of, did pretty well towards the end. So Cousins, still a solid year. I don't know what to do with him, which is the crappy part. We're obviously going to hold on to him for now, but 40 points, still solid. Obviously, kind of got bumped out of that second line role. Peterka, you kind of got the odd ball out here, if you will, right? Just one of those players that got bumped down. Still a good year for him. I'm not saying that, but 84 overall on the fourth line, not really what I love doing, but something we had to do. Gergensen's his return back to Buffalo, 22 points, 11 goals. That's what a fourth liner kind of needs. And 48 down there as well, 16 points, -6. Not going to be upset with that. Fourth line in general, -2, +2, -6. It's the fourth line. What do you really expect? Defensively, though, Dahlin finally doing his thing again as usual, 66 points. Power finally figuring it out on the second line. Tarasov with 20 points, 12 goals for him. Brock Faber, I'd like a little bit more out of him, but again, given the rest of our team, not everyone could get 100 points. But 18 points for him. Novikov, 16 points at the end of the year. Still solid. And Pesci down there holding up the third line with 15 points, 8 goals, 7 assists. Pretty solid. But a solid year for our defensive core. You can't really complain about anything there. Goaltenders. Levi, this is a massive year for him. So I guess next year will be the biggest year for him, because next year, or I should say after next year, he will be a UFA. So an unrestricted free agent. And, if you were to ask me right now, would you commit to his future in Buffalo? The answer is probably going to be no, honestly. If we can find someone else that could battle for that spot and then wins that battle, these are not great numbers, right? And I know it's not just him, but at the same time, we've given him long enough that you should see improvement. And the fact that we haven't yet is a little kind of nerve-wracking. But again, he's still 26. He's still somewhat young, but it might be, just one of those, he's not working out here, but maybe he'll work out somewhere else. And then, he will bring someone else in, and then they figure it out. But Tarasov, not great numbers. Those numbers kind of went down a little bit for where we want them to be. But overall, he's a backup goalie. You're not going to be super upset with that. So a little bit of falling off since the last time we checked in with the team stats. We end up with 10th overall in the entire league with 90 points, which is amazing. 45, 34, and 3 overall. 305 goals against, 305 goals for, 273 goals against. So we kind of seem to be figuring it out later in the season there. Our power play percentage, I think, did go down a little bit. I think we're at 20%, finished at 18.5. So not ideal for that. I wish I didn't sort that, but it's fine. Penalty kill percentage, looking to see where we fall in this whole mess, and it is right there, 80.4. So again, not terrible, but not great either. 15 shorthanded goals for, guys. What are we doing? But decent overall at the home record, 25-15, and then away record a little bit closer. Last 10 though haven't been good to us, 3-6-1. So I mean, it's been a solid second half of the year. We kind of did exactly what we expected to do, and we made it. Right, that's the most important part. We made it at the end. But the last thing we're gonna do is look forward and advance a couple days here to see who we're going to be facing off in the first round of the playoffs, and it is a battle of New York. The New York Rangers on the schedule, 51 wins for them this year. Let's go take a look at what they bring to the table. And here it is. Panarin, Zibanejad, Kakko at a 90 overall. Right. Lafreniere, Trocheck, Sakura. Not exactly sure who you are. Second round pick from, in real life a couple of years ago. Not so much in the game. Coleman, Radish, Tatar. I mean, an okay bottom 6. Zadina down there as well. So, interesting. Obviously not as crazy as real life, but still a very solid core there. Defensively, Miller, Fox, they have Provorov as well with Schneider, another guy I've never heard of, and Valimaki. So again, really solid, but I'd like to think we still have the edge. Shesterkin in net, of course, and Kaapo Kahkonen as a backup. Anybody scratched? Chris Kreider, 79 overall. I was wondering where he was. Tanner Jeannot and Soderson. So they got a solid team. Obviously, I look forward to facing off against them. But, looking at our team, I mean, overall on paper, we seem to be better. But again, they have 51 wins. We didn't. You look at our team, this is how we ended the year with Savoy in the first line. Again, bouncing that around. We have kind of, again, on paper, a better team. At least our top 9. I'd like to think our, if we switch Faber and Pesce, I mean, that's 86 plus with a 92 in there. I mean, that's pretty solid. And then goaltenders, I mean, that's where we fall off a little bit with the 86. But still, right, should be a really good matchup. Should be a good series. We'll have to wait and see what they bring for us and what they bring to, I think we'd be in New York first, right? Because they probably have the higher seed. Yep, so we're away for the first 2 games. So we'll be in Madison Square Garden starting on the next episode. For our first time in this series, we are back in the playoffs in, 17 years or something like that. So lots to look forward to. No more disappointing off-season plans here. We got the playoffs. Anything can happen, but make sure to stay tuned to see how far we go. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, hit the like button down below if you haven't yet, or if you're brand new here, make sure to subscribe. And as always, guys, we'll see you in the next one.